Hey y'all, Gina Brown here, one of GCISD's digital learning coaches. Fancy new title, same old voice. I apologize in advance if you hear my dogs. I am after hours and filming in my backyard. So, y'all, this is my Edugence test, the sample assessment that I created to teach the kids how to use the annotation tools. So, it is a 9-question, non content based quiz to kind of walk the kids through how to use these. So, I'm going to walk you through how to use them. So that way, if you don't want me to come into your class, you can administer it on your own. Just drop me an email, let me know who you want me to assign it to, and I can assign them to your kiddos. So, question 1, what I want the kiddos to do is practice strike through. So, you have to select. I use 2 words select versus highlight is when we use this highlight tool. So, select and then click the strike through, and you'll notice it strikes through. And if you select again and then hit undo, sometimes if you hit this button up top, it will go away. Notice how it comes and goes. But for instance, like the highlight button doesn't work. So, I just try to teach them to use the undo. So whatever you want to strike through or highlight, you select first and then click the button and then undo it as well. I teach the kiddos to strike through excess information, or vice versa, you can highlight important information. So you notice the test, I kind of give a reasoning for each of the tools. So don't just kind of cruise through it, have the kiddos read that because it gives some information. So this next part is this X here. You can eliminate or restore answer choices. I wish it started with the check instead, but it actually starts with the X. So I teach the kids X, like wrong. If you don't think an answer choice is correct, leave it at the X. So I want them to pick their favorite vegetable. So my favorite vegetable, I love them all, but let's say broccoli. And let's say my second favorite is corn. If this was a regular test question, I would know the ones with the X's were ones that I really didn't like. So now I'm just choosing between the green check marks. So I would pick between that and then I would hit next. Question 2, I want to teach them how to highlight so they can either strike out unimportant information or highlight important information. And same thing, you select and then you click whatever tool you want. See, notice how if you do this, it does not unhighlight like the strike through, unstrike through, unstruck through, undid. So I just teach them to use this undo tool instead. So teach them to highlight important information, for instance, the question, and then they can type in their answer below. My next question 3, I want them to access the formula sheet. So if they click this open, it will bop them out of Edugence. So I teach them to do the 3-finger swipe up on their Chromebook and then head back into Edugence to access the test. So notice how it went away. That same thing will happen to them. They need to open up, go like this, open up Edugence again, and then they have to hit the refresh button for them to get the resume test link. So I just wanted to incorporate some swirl, reading, writing, listening, speaking, and I wanted them to take a look at what their habit of a good reader was, what their best habit of a reader was. So they click on that, open that, and then they type in whatever their habit of a reader was. Same thing, to get rid of it, all you do is you click the button again or click the X. So for this one, it's using the calculator. So they open it up, use the calculator and get rid of it, or they can use the X tool to do that. The only tricky thing is with the calculator, they have to click on it or they have to use their mouse. They can't, for instance, do a number 7, I believe, on their Chromebook. So just kind of let them know that in advance if they use calculators. So for this one, y'all, I wanted to teach them how to copy and paste, just a reminder. But my reasoning for this was to access this scratch pad. So the great thing about this scratch pad is whatever you type into it will stay the whole entire test, even if I X out of it and come back. So I just wanted them to practice copying and then pasting something into the response and then Xing it out. And then later on in the test, I asked them to open that back up to show them that whatever they type in there will still be there. So it's great if they open it up and kind of get into the habit of typing some things they want to remember, acronyms, differences between physical chemical changes, and kind of have that as like the blank back of their paper back when we were old and took tests on paper. This one's the ruler. You have to drag it, put it over, and it's a little finicky, so you have to kind of like move it a little and then let go. And then same thing to get rid of it, just click it again. So for this one, I wanted to show them control find. I thought this was really great tool for ELA or the STAR test to be able to do those comprehension questions. My example is you're reading a story and it asks what Anthony's abuela's name was. You type in abuela, go look for it. Oh, Maria, awesome. So I also talked to them about reading and not just using this. This is like an extra tool. So I wanted them to do this and then click that down button and notice that orangey one highlights exactly which one they're on. And then since this last field is not in the poem, I say that technically it's in the poem 4 times, and then I have them move on. So this one was to show the Control F feature. There wasn't really any feature except a reminder to highlight. So I went and wanted them to highlight twice and copy and paste twice, since that I feel like is the most important tool. And then I tell them to go back in and unhighlight John McCrae to practice. For this one, I wanted them to practice using the Zoom tool. They have Chromebooks, so they are able to pinch and zoom, which is better than this one. So I teach them to pinch and zoom. And then I talk about diagrams, graphs, being able to zoom into a graph, zoom into a diagram, zoom into an infographic. And then I just ask them to find those 3 things up top. And then my symbol, like my code answer is I ask this question and they're supposed to type in question mark because that's what's on the pink man suit, 29 because that's the number on the stamp, and then 4 because that's the number of red stripes. And then question 9 is last but not least. I actually revised this one because a lot of the kids don't have text to speech, and if they do, they know how to use it. So instead, I just use this as this second half to open up their scratch pad again, realize that whatever they typed in there is still there. I had them type their favorite color and then their favorite number. And for question, I think it was 3, no, question 7. Y'all, I'm already getting turned about. Question 5. So for question 5, I had them copy their color and paste it. And then for the last question, I have them go back and open up their scratch pad, and now they're copying their favorite number and pasting that. And then that was just, like I said, my way to remind them that whatever they type in that scratch pad will still be there. And then they just submit. And that is pretty much it, y'all. So that is how I walked them through it. I went through each question, spent a little time, and it took me about 20 minutes for the 9 questions. Hope that was helpful.